Hey, Gary, welcome to the show. As a way of getting started, tell us about yourself.
Hey, Brian. Nice to meet you finally after all this time watching your all those great videos of you walking up and down some street somewhere in America.
Paradise. Yeah.
Paradise. It is. I'm currently the founder and CEO of an ad agency here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's called 11th Street Media, and I called it 11th Street because I was born on West 12th Street in Brooklyn, New York, and spent a lot of time with my friends on 11th Street, and always was a really close place to my heart. Before then, I was the president and chief revenue officer for Modern Luxury, which is a luxury publishing company based out of Atlanta. We were in about 30 markets across the country, all the luxury-based markets, had about 120 sellers that I oversaw the revenue and the operations for sales there. And then before then, for about 18 years, I was with Cumulus Media, the second largest radio company in the world. And for 11 of those 18 years, I was a senior vice president. And I had about 450 sellers who all are, a lot of them are fans of yours. So I'm sure when they see this, they'll be like, oh man, there he is, you know? And I was the guy on the phone. I was the guy on the phone when you were answering going, pipeline,
Hold
KPIs.
on, my boss is on.
So every time I watch those videos, I just watch them a couple of times because it brings back so many memories, you know?
Yeah.
But I spent 11 years every week at an airport, because remember, Cumulus had 90 markets. So I was over New York, Chicago, LA, DC, Detroit, San Francisco, Houston, Dallas. So I had all the major markets for a long time. And those markets were the epicenter of the company. I mean, those markets faltered, the company, we were public. So we had to do a lot of forecasting for our CEO. And, you know, we had a lot of, because really what drove the stock price in the company is not really your results, it's your forecast. That really, so the forecast has to come, believe it or not, from the salespeople to the sales management to me to the CEO. So it got dumbed down so many times, and it all came down to account by account strategy, you know? And I spent my time in the field every week. And every time I went to a market, every time I went, I always did two things. I spent a lot of time with the salespeople in sales meetings, and I spent a lot of time on sales calls, thousands of sales calls. Brian, I could tell you, you can learn so much from sales leadership. All you've got to do is go on a sales call.
Yeah.
You'll understand their preparation, their knowledge, their ability to build rapport. And I held sales training meetings, Brian, all over the country. And there was always a common thread. And the common thread with sales leadership was their lack of focused training for their salespeople. Not only about their product and what they were selling, but just the sales process in itself. And I used to tell salespeople all the time, on your first call, when you first walk in, scan the office. See where there's commonality. Whoa, you know, you like golf. I love golf, you know, and then all of a sudden you start talking about golf. I used to tell our salespeople all the time in sales meetings, and they would come back and say, you know what? I remember it well. I used to say, do me a favor, go out today and don't sell anything to anybody. Just go make some friends, because the sales will happen once you build that rapport. And, you know, people buy, the old adage, people buy who they like, but today, with all the choices, they buy who they trust.
Yeah.
They really do.
Especially in that market where they've got lots of options. They've got a different rep coming in every day. And I always say you have to have that they either want to talk with you or have to talk with you.
Right. Well, in the advertising game, they don't have to talk to you. No, they're not saying they're like, oh, the cable guy is here. I'm excited. No. When you and on the top of it, we were transitioning to the digital world when we were doing, radio is traditional media, a wonderful media, and there's amazing people in that business still today, but it was challenged from an economic standpoint, but also it was challenged from the digital perspective coming on board, because everybody now wants things that are targeted and measurable.
Yes.
When you look at traditional media, that's really casting the wide net. When you cast the wide net, you do it often enough where you build impressions and then you think top of mind. So we had to train our salespeople, and I was so focused on making certain that our sales managers did incredible amounts of training just to make certain that the sales folks were ready for all the word I'm looking for is
objections.
Objections.
Yeah.
You're looking, and again, if you're a sales leader and you're managing a team of salespeople, my advice to you is go on a call. Just see how it goes.
Yeah.
From start to finish, because how well are they prepared before the call? And when they get to the call, are they robotic? Are they package pushers? Are they item pushers? Or are they listening? And, because really the best salespeople are the best listeners. And you say it all the time.
Yeah.
If they listen and they listen well, they will understand the client's needs and be able to solve those problems.
Right.
But what our problems were at times was as from a public sector, there were numbers that we had to meet, and everybody starts rattling and shaking, but to really drive revenue, but it's really a false positive because it doesn't build enduring relationships. You will get repeat sales if you have a long, enduring relationship with a customer. And really, what is the lifetime value of a customer, Brian?
Right.
What is the lifetime value of a great customer? That really speaks highly of you. And I used to go through this all the time with salespeople, and they would say, well, and you say it all the time when you're walking the streets, when you say, oh, my KPIs are off. Do you, and the sales manager would, we would sit down with the sales managers and they would say, well, I've got this much in the pipeline. I say, well, a pipeline's very important. That shows pure activity, but what is inside that activity? How many deep relationships are inside that activity?
Yeah.
And
it's
we would train.
Pretty easy to type in that pipeline.
Oh, come on. I mean, all of a sudden,
no one ever did that, right?
No. Of course. Yeah, we would get forecasts going, oh, we're going to do 100,000 this week. All of a sudden, 10,000 comes in. I'm on the phone going, hey, what happened to the 90? Well, it got
next month.
Yeah, it got a little squirrely. Things got a little squirrely, and some clients are so. Really, you say it best during all of your wonderful videos that sometimes it's very difficult to look at the raw number because half of it could be incorrect. And
right.
it's very
how did you weed through that as a leader?
I would take it at half value.
Okay.
I would take it.
You had a sense of who was a sandbagger and who was an exaggerator.
Yeah, we did. We basically knew the different managers. Some were, there's a big range of management there. Some are very particular, and some will sandbag you. Some will overpromise you just to get you off the phone. Yep. That Friday afternoon when you're looking for a forecast. Yeah. But the majority of them, look, I still speak to a lot of our sales managers today, and a lot of the GMs who ran all those markets. They're all dear friends of mine. They're incredible people. The industry is highly challenged right now because of the digital ecosystem out there. I mean, who would have thought that Facebook would do $70 billion in ad sales with no salespeople?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Right.
It's all programmatic, and it's all done through, hey, I want to reach these many people, and it's very highly targeted and very highly measured. So a lot of our advertisers are now trying their best to get to that realm of business going, well, I want to see how many people clicked and liked my ad. I was like, likes and clicks don't matter. It's the results that matter. How many people are walking in the door? Well, now there's a padlock on the door, so you can't get in, unless you have your mask on and, and your hand sanitizer. So, but it was an interesting 11 years. It really was. And I say it all the time. I've seen the best in sales people, and I've seen the worst.
Well, let's dig into that. What made up the best?
The best were people who were amazing rapport builders. They can build rapport better than anybody else. I would be sitting watching this person, this man or this woman going into this business and visiting with this brand new client and just having them wrapped around their finger in 15 minutes. Yeah. Never sold a thing, never talked about sales, never talked about, well, here's the reason why we're here today, Brian. They never did all of that. Let me see your business. Oh, take me for a tour. Oh, we're going to go on a golf cart. Great, let's go. And they'd be talking about their kids and their dogs and, they're playing tennis and everything else. And at times they would say, look, I really want to talk how we can grow your business. You still have any time? And the client will go, yeah, sit down. Let's say, Mildred, get some coffee, or Joe, get some coffee. Let's all sit down and talk. I'd be sitting there going, there it is. There's the best.
Now, when people tell you that's either old school or unnecessary.
I will challenge them through experience for being on literally thousands of sales calls.
Yeah.
When you walk into a brand new business to sell a product, if you don't build rapport, it's the most powerful tool you can ever have in your sales arsenal. It really
because
is.
I think if you don't do that, you're at the transactional level.
Yeah.
This is what we offer. This is the cost.
Right.
Let me handle your objections.
Right. Yeah. This advertising entity is $10 cheaper, and they start, flipping through their papers and everything else. But then the worst that I've seen were the robots. They would go in, they would do exactly what their sales manager wanted them to say. And when an objection came at them, they would try to handle the objection, but never handle it. And at that time I would jump in. I was there on the side, and I said, this thing's going south real fast. Let me jump in.
Yeah.
But normally when they would bring me along on a sales call, it was nice because I had a chance to meet the customer or the new customer and really train the seller on how to sit down and stop selling right now. There's no need. You'll get there. But when you get there, you'll get there and you'll stay there because there'll be a relationship between the two of you.
Yeah. And I kind of come to the conclusion that people are thinking at the wrong level. They're thinking at the people level instead of the mammal level. Right. Because when you have rapport, that means I'm on your side.
That's right.
Instead of two dogs trying to bark at each other to own territory.
Right. Exactly.
Right. This is my yard. Don't come in my yard.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And they're not prepared on the client's business. I don't care if you're selling widgets. I've sat on airplanes being upgraded because I flew so much with some of the best sellers in the business, selling software, manufacturing services, advertising, cranes, big giant, construction equipment. And I've talked to them. I mean, we've been on 4 or 5 hour flights, and I would say to them, what's the secret? Why are you successful? And you know what they'd say to me all the time? Because I get along with all my customers. They love me and they like hearing from me. I send them things all the time. I email them all the time. I used to ask salespeople all the time, Brian, why with the onset of email, let's go way back to email, you can communicate with a customer. You can communicate with a customer with this finger, a little mouse. And then we have a mobile device where you can do it while you're on the fly. I'm dating myself, but when I was selling, we would have to go to the big file cabinet. Let me see the research on furniture stores. Oh, left-handed plumbers buy furniture on Tuesdays at 3:00. Yeah. And I would say, I would have to put it all together. Why is communication so easy and productivity is now down? I didn't understand that connection. Why?
Well, let's peel the onion, because it's not just that they love you or like you. It's that you're showing interest in them.
That's right.
Right? That's how trust is built. You are putting their interest ahead of yours.
That's right.
And they know that.
They know that. They don't care about you, they care about them.
Yes.
It's a hard thing to accept.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. It's the brutal truth.
It's the brutal truth. And guess what? A sales rep who only thinks about themselves gets ignored. They'll only talk to you when they have to.
That's right. Because in my business, they didn't have to talk to you. There were so many options.
So many options. Yeah, they might pick up the phone by accident, and you're there, and they want to be rude and hang up.
Right. Right.
So that they'll say, can I call you back? Or they'll lie to
Right.
you. Or maybe
Right.
they'll sit through your pitch.
Right. And I would talk to sales managers even today. I mean, after being in a company for 18 years, and there's so many people there. I mean, and being, in the leadership position I was in, you get to still communicate with a lot of people, and new sales managers who would call me and say, "What should I look for?" I would say to them, "Go on a sales call. Make sure you're on a sales call with every one of your salespeople and just see how they do. They're going to be a little uneasy," because it was so funny. We had 50. I ran the San Francisco market for almost 2 years. I was commuting from Atlanta to San Francisco. We had 55 sellers. So we were the home of the Giants and the 49ers, and it was really an amazing organization. Monday morning, everybody gets into the sales meeting. This is, many, many years ago. And I would go, "Joe, hey, Gary, how you doing? You and me today, buddy." "Okay." Everybody else would go, he's going up. Me and Joe would go out, and I'd say, "Joe, what do you got going on today?" "Well, I had a couple of cancellations." "No, Joe, you got nothing going on. Let's go make some friends."
Yeah.
We'd walk into businesses, and we'd meet people. And then the next day we would have another sales meeting in the morning. And I'd say, "Joe, tell us about your day." "Oh man." I used to tell salespeople all the time, when you get back to the office, if your shoes are smoking, you had a good day. We'd walked into 15 businesses, and we talked to everybody and made a lot of friends. Did we sell anything? No. Did we make a lot of friends? Yes. We had a great day.
Right. And you got people who will now talk to you.
Of course.
So now they'll share what they really care about, what they really want to solve.
Of course.
And then they'll be open to what you can do for them.
Of course. Yeah. And when I knew that I was going to be speaking with you, and I reached out to you and I said, "Hey, Brian, I want to tell my story." And you're like, "Hey, come on." I really wanted to share, when the chokehold on any organization is the sales leader. And if you read John Maxwell's book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he has something called the law of the lid. And the law of the lid is the organization's leader either has that lid down or that lid is wide open, and everyone's just highly productive. And there's sales managers who believe that detailed numbers drive the organization, but it's really the culture, it's really the camaraderie, it's really the organization's leadership that will really drive that productivity to the next level.
Yeah.
I used to tell sales managers all the time, "I've got your numbers. Don't worry. I'm looking at all the data, and I'm feeding the data up to the big office. I got your data. Go out there and just get your salespeople productive, make them happy, because a salesperson that's tense is not going to sell anything to anybody."
Right.
A salesperson that's on the phone going, "Oh, I don't know, just last week, I think you had something about my commission check has been cut," or something with the accounting department. I was like, this guy is so spot on. Because I remember being on those calls going, "Oh, the receivables, we're paid on receivables it's past 90 days. And I'm like, I remember it so well. But a salesperson that's tense won't be able to, because the client will feel.
When I see somebody get put on a plan, it's like, why do that? Oh, yeah. Just either cut them or fix it. Don't tell them you're going to cut them if they don't fix it. When you run scared, what does every mammal do when they're scared?
They run.
Fight, freeze, or fly, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. No,
none of those will sell.
No. And on top of it, when the economy, remember, I went through sales leadership through 9/11, through 2008. Now, not through this, but I'm living it through other people who are communicating with me. It's going to be rough out there for a lot of people selling, advertising, because like I said to you earlier, not only did we have the traditional media had the onslaught of digital, all of a sudden emerging, there's now these other economic headwinds that are holding them back. So the best are going to be able to convince a customer to do whatever they want to spend their money with them. But the ones that just go in and are package pushers or item pushers, it's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen.
I don't know about your industry, but in my industry, kind of the technology software space, it's a leadership has moved much more towards accounting than it has towards leadership. KPIs, CRM.
Yeah.
Counting things.
Listen, we try to roll out a CRM in the media business a long time ago. You thought we asked everyone to get a root canal with no Novocaine.
Waterboarding.
Waterboarding. It was painful. And some of the sellers who are, now remember, in every organization, there's always the top dogs.
Yeah.
We don't do it this way. I've been doing this for 30 years. I got this. What do? They've got 30% of your company's revenue. Do you force them to do the CRM? No, they won't do it. And they'll be tense. They'll be frustrated. And they won't sell anything to anybody. And so what we did at times for our top sellers, and the folks who are watching this who work with me, they'd be like, I remember it. We had other people do it for them.
Boom. How hard is that?
I mean, we used to have the admin person. I say, look, Joe, John, Judy, they're the top sellers here in Los Angeles. They don't want to do the CRM. So then all of a sudden the newbies would say, well, if they don't have to do it, why do I? So then leadership has to take over and say, well, when you get to that level, then you can dictate to me what you want to do. Well, yeah.
Well, that's it. I don't know what, I'm sure they were making very good money, but an admin who could call them for 15 minutes a day, half hour a week. So the CRM looks the way leadership wants it to. Right. All they have to do is ask the questions. Right.
And then we get the call going, Gary, your KPIs this week seem a little low. I'd be like,
your call time, your talk to listen ratio isn't right.
And I would hate the phone blitzes. Let's do a phone blitz, and it would, how many dials did you do versus how many connects? And then the connects to the appointment setting. I'd be like, they'd be calling you. You'd walk by and you hear, so Mike, what are we doing? You going to get a beer tonight?
It's all faking. You create actors, not salespeople.
I used to say it all the time. I remember when we had top down at times came in and said, we want 2 asks a day to increase your pay. I was like, 2 asks a day? If I get 3 qualified, long-term, highly lucrative asks in a week, I'm thrilled. I mean, if I can get a salesperson to be in front of a customer 3 times in a week with a well-prepared ask based on their need of the customer, and that ask is long-term, and it's very well done and put together, and it's highly rehearsed, so when the seller goes in, they're ready for any objection. Oh my God! I remember, Brian, we had 1,000 sellers.
Well, I heard a manager say we're going to give an MBO based off of the number of proposals sent. I go, sending a proposal that before the customer's interested is a great way to kill a deal.
You'll slaughter it.
You'll slaughter it because now they have everything,
right?
And they assume this is the best you can do.
And they would. And then I used to love sales managers, and again, the sales managers that are watching this today who work with me, they used to be go see the customer. The customer says, "Okay, Gary, I've given you a budget of $10,000. Great. I'm going to go back and build a proposal for $99.95. I'm going to come under your amount of money, which helps drive any objection." Sales managers, go in for $13,000. They've got more money than that. Just go higher. I'm like, no, don't do that. If they're asking for $10,000, do it at $9,000 or $99.95 because that will, right.
Yeah.
Right. But again, you learn if something is, we would look at pacing inside of a market and we go, look, Los Angeles is really falling off the cliff. Something's wrong. Things like that don't happen in a vacuum. And then all of a sudden you say to the team, hey, I'm coming out to Los Angeles to spend 3 days with you. I look forward to seeing everybody. And I send the agenda to the market. We're going to be doing this and this. And all of a sudden, a couple of salespeople send me an email. Hey, you have a minute for a private conversation? I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Here we go.
God. Here we go. There's markets outside of external economic pressures. Markets that aren't there's a reason why that the performance is off. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of that reason, the sales leader.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, the salespeople, and then you go into the sales meeting and they're all like this. You know, you walk in, everyone's tense, everyone's hiding when you walk in, or you go on the other side, you walk into a market that's doing well, that's stable, maybe some days good, some days not, but there's still a good performance, stable market. You walk in, hey, Gary, how are you? Oh, good, everything's good. You know, hey, can you want to go on a call with me Tuesday? And completely different scenario.
Yeah.
So I've always said to our CEO, board members, even my consulting that I do today, when I walk into a company and their sales are in not good shape, you've got to go first to the leader and see how that leader is treating those people and making sure that those salespeople have a clear path to go from the first call to the close.
Yeah.
Make sure they have a clear path from accounting, because let me tell you, you don't also ruin a deal. You say it on your street walks. Bad accounting. Oh, accounting missed the payment, or accounting didn't post the payment. That'll kill a deal too.
Right.
So you got to make sure that everything is a smooth workflow and a smooth transition from the very first time. And when you have a customer as a salesperson or sales leader that closes a deal, it's a celebratory event. If someone comes back into the building after being out all day getting kicked and beaten, and they come back and get kicked and beaten, what?
That's what I never understood, because when the sales team is happy and productive, it's magic.
It's magic.
When it's not, you're a mechanic. You're trying to fix it. Are they the right people? Is it the right managers? The right comp plan?
I used to go to the sales leaders all the time, and because remember, a good economy, a robust economy, and a good group of salespeople will mask a bad manager.
Yes. Revenue solves all problems.
Revenue solves all. And as soon as that market goes this way, everybody goes like this, and they all go like this to the manager. He did it. And the manager standing there going, okay, well, the market softened up because we went through it. The market softened up. What strategy do you want to put in place? Well, the majority that I've worked with, because I love them dearly, and I still talk to them, they would really try to rally and motivate and think of ideas and create things and get everyone's opinions. Some, and this doesn't work. You don't pound your fist, you don't point your fingers, you just rally your team. And those managers, unfortunately, we had to part ways with a lot of them. So, but it is what it is. But again, I can't tell you, when I watch, I literally look for your videos on LinkedIn, and as soon as I see, oh, there's a new one, and I hit it, because I sit there and go, he's right.
Well, you either laugh at it or you cry. Laughing releases the tension, because I talk to reps all day, and I think they might point at the manager too often, but it is, when you don't have a good manager, it's really hard to be happy at the job.
Well, first of all, is the manager providing the right sales opportunities? Is the manager providing the right sales training? Is the manager side by side with them in this field? Because you sit nothing happens behind the desk, except now.
Yeah.
These days, but when the world opens back up again and we go back to the new normal, any sales, it happens. It's a body contact sport. We know that.
And anyone can take an order. Very few people can create a client, create a relationship with somebody, help somebody out. Again, the lifetime value of a customer. Yeah. What is that value? It's tremendous. So, so now what I do for a living is 11th Street Media is a business transformation organization as well as an ad agency, but we really go in and look at workflow and sales process. And I've used all my experience that I've had. It's been a blessing to have this opportunity to bring to other sectors of business, because if you're selling advertising, widgets, or whatever, or software,
a salesperson is a salesperson, and you have to make sure that they're well prepared and well taken care of. You really do.
Hey, this has been a fun conversation. Where can people go to connect with you and learn more about your company?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn as often as I can, but it's 11th Street, 11streetmedia.com is the website that we have. And really, Brian, I can't thank you enough for taking the time with me and speaking with me. It's been a joy.